So we got the son of the very popular minister, Frederick K.C. Price. This is his son. He's a junior. Made this video on October 6th. This is Ever Increasing Faith Ministries. I find this interesting about what he's saying. Let's hear it.
Blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation, a coming together, a meeting and a reading. You shall what? Do no customary work on it, and you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. Now, in our modern era, I haven't seen any Jews make an offering by fire. Verse 26 goes into Yom Kippur, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, also the 10th day of the 7th month shall be the day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation, a gathering, a meeting, and a reading.
Now pause it right there so we can see the topic of his lesson. We are Israel. All right. Now, what he's doing is discussing the feast days that I and many of my brothers participate in, who have come to the knowledge that we are the Israelites, the biblical Israelites of old. We are the offspring of our ancestors recorded in the Bible. So he's bringing this to his audience, to his congregation. And I don't know if this is the first time he's done this, but to me, it looks like he's slowly introducing this. However, we got an issue here. I want you to listen.
For you shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. And you shall do no work on that same day, for it is the day of atonement, to make atonement to you before the Lord your God. For any person who is not afflicted in soul on that same day shall be cut off from his people, and any person who doesn't...
Look at the sister. She's like, I don't like where you're going with that. They don't like that. I tell you, our women have a hard head when it comes to these laws. But this is not what this video about, so let me keep it going.
Work on that same day, that person I will destroy from among his people. Oh, that's rough.
Oh, that's rough.
You shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. It shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest, and you shall afflict your souls. On the 9th day of the month at evening, from evening to evening, you shall celebrate your Sabbath. Again, who was the...
Keep in mind, he just made it clear that these feast days are considered Shabbats. Let's go on.
The Lord speaking to Moses, and the Lord told Moses to speak to who? The children of Israel. How many of you know that everything we just read has been fulfilled in our Messiah?
There we go. Now this is where you have the double talk. This is where most Christians will divert from keeping these feast days and say everything's been fulfilled through the Messiah, Jesus. I know him as Yahushua. But we're going to have to discuss this in detail. And this is what this video is about. The spirit of Yahweh has a few things against you, Dr. Frederick K. Price, because you're bringing this knowledge to your people, but you're lukewarm in doing it. You're double-minded, and that's not going to work.
In our Messiah. In other words, the requirement and the obligation has been done away with. Now today, as believers in the Lord, especially Jewish believers in the Lord, we can celebrate Yom Teruah and Yom Kippur by choice, not by requirement.
Oh, by choice.
In other words, if we don't...
See, he says by choice and not by requirement. All right, let's listen to this some more.
We don't have to be concerned about being cut off from God.
Are you sure about that?
In actuality, Jesus is our Yom Teruah and our Yom Kippur, and he is every other holy day and holy feast. It is finished, all requirements met. We rest in him.
There you go. There's the lie.
There's a freedom to be able to celebrate something by choice as opposed to obligation.
All right, so there's the lie right there. Starts out good, but he has a lot of issues. So Revelation chapter 3, verse 15 to 16. I know thy works. Thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. See, you're going to have to pick a side, man. You're going to have to try to do this the right way or don't do it at all. And don't even try to tell your people you're Israel. And we could make a decision if we want to do these feast days because our Messiah has fulfilled all. What does the book of James tell you? Why don't you read from that book, James chapter 2, verse 14? You're trying to say that this is a work and you don't got to do the work. But James tells you, what doeth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? That's the question. Can your faith save you? James chapter 2, verse 17. Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. So you see, you got to have both. You can believe in the Messiah and have faith that he has fulfilled all these requirements for you. But if you're not going to participate in these feasts because you want to make a decision about when to do it and how to do it, then now your works are being canceled out because you're not doing them and your faith is dead. James chapter 2, verse 22. Seest thou how faith wrought with his works? And by works was faith made perfect? You see what I'm saying here? You want to be perfect. Oh, we can't be perfect, brother. You're a liar. You can be perfect. Else, your Messiah, our Messiah, would not have said in Matthew 5:48, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. This is the perfect he's talking about, doing the works and keeping the faith. James chapter 2, verse 26. For as the body without the spirit is dead. So you see, the body and the spirit have to be together, else that body is dead. So faith without works is dead also. My mistake. So faith without works is dead also. Why is it so important? Because in Exodus chapter 31, verse 16 says, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath. This is what I said in the beginning. He referred to the feast days as the Shabbat. He read the feast days, and it says they're called Sabbaths. It says here, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. All right. So you're telling me that now we don't supposed to do the Sabbath. That perpetual is null and void. Does not our God, the same God today, yesterday, today, and forever? Is he changing his mind and he's up and down? Is he lukewarm? Can he not be a God that keeps his word, keeps his laws, keeps his commandment, and expects us to do the same? Is he changing the contract? Because you think that the Messiah has done away with everything. He would not have said here, and this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. Exodus chapter 12, verse 14. Forever is forever. Can't change that. He didn't say we could choose to do it. If you decide to keep the feast, if you want to memorialize this, this is a command. This is a ordinance forever throughout your generations. Exodus chapter 12, verse 17. And you shall observe, not you might observe, and if you decide to observe, and you will observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this self same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore ye shall observe this day in your generations by ordinance forever. Now, you can read Luke chapter 22, verse 19, and Yahushua says, and he took the bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. This do. Not if you want to do, or if you decide to do, or if it's something that is cool to do. No, you do this in remembrance of me. So you got to do it. What does that mean? Is it that's through faith? No, you got to do it. Because you go back up into here, James, he says, as for the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. So this is something that has to be done. And you can remember what Yahushua did for you, but you have to read the rest of the chapter and you find out the whole purpose of keeping that feast, all these feasts, is to remember what he did, is to remember our history. What did he do for your ancestors? If you are Israel, if you don't do the feast, you're not remembering the history of your people. Maybe I need to read the whole chapter of Exodus chapter 12, verse 17 for you. Let's go there real quick. So you can get an understanding, so the whole audience can get an understanding what I'm trying to tell you here, why this is so important. You go here, and I'll just put up the verses right here. Verse 26. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? Referring to the feast. That you shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head and worship. So you see, you have to tell your children what the Most High Yahweh did for our ancestors. So you have to do this. You cannot say, if you decide to do it, and not have a feast to commemorate it. Oh. Let's go on here. There's more I need to explain to you, because some of you are going to say, that doesn't make sense. Messiah, we're in the new covenant now. Yes, God gave a new covenant. We're not doing animal sacrifice. Exactly. We're not doing animal sacrifices. That's the only thing that has been replaced with the sacrifice of our Messiah. But the feast day is still in effect, else you wouldn't have Acts chapter 18, verse 21, where Paul, after the crucifixion and resurrection of our Savior, Paul comes on the scene and tells his people and bid them farewell, saying, I must by all means keep this feast that cometh in Jerusalem. But I will return unto you again, if God will. And he sailed from Ephesus. So what is Paul telling you? You got to keep the feast. I must by all means keep the feast. Not if I want to or decide to, or And then Yahushua tells you in Matthew 19:17, and he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, in other words, if you want to enter into life, keep the commandments. You can't get around it. You gotta do the works, which is keeping the righteous acts of the law and the feast and everything else. You can't be telling me that we could decide to do it. If you're gonna tell your audience you could decide to do this if you want to, then you might as well be telling them you could decide to live righteous and holy if you want to, and you could still get into heaven. No, you need to have a church if that's how you want to play the game. Revelation chapter 22, verse 13 and 14. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. So if you want your people to have this right, to be blessed, then they better do the commandments. Else their blood is on your hand, not mine.